Well, all right, here we go. All right, what's going on today, guys? So, as you guys can see, I am not on a bike today. I am in my 1995 Honda Civic Hatchback. Wanted to give you guys a little history of this car specifically, as well as my plans for the car itself. Starting off, we'll go back to 1990s in Germany, where my grandparents were living at the time. So originally my grandparents had a 1980 something Honda Civic. I can't recall what year it was, but they did have a 1980s Honda Civic. It was my grandmother's car. She's about 4'10", so the car suited her fairly well. I mean, the 1980s Hondas are pretty small cars. I mean, so are the 1990s Hondas. But starting off with the 1980s Honda Civic, my grandparents had drove that thing for years. I believe 1995 they had lent their 80 Civic to one of their neighbors or one of their friends, so that he could get from point A to point B. Yeah, he was trying to get point A to point B. In the event of going from point A to point B, said neighbor, friend, whatever, was taking the Autobahn, and I guess he was flat out the whole time, and he ended up pretty much blowing the motor in that car. So with the 1980s Honda Civic being broken, my grandparents thought it would, instead of trying to fix it up, it'd be better to just get a brand new car. Yeah, since they loved the 1980s Civic so much, they decided, you know, let's get a brand new Civic. It was 1995, and this is the one that they came across at the dealership. So this car itself was purchased in Germany. So my grandmother absolutely fell in love with this car. I mean, like I said, she's 4'10", so she's pretty short, and this car suited her extremely well. She absolutely loved this car. Handles great on fuel. I mean, I was getting 40 miles a gallon on my drive from upstate New York to Texas, and this car is almost 30 years old, and it's getting that great fuel mileage. Fast forward about 4 years, 1999, a year after I was born. My parents had decided to take me and my brother out to Germany to go visit our grandparents for our first birthday. So I vaguely remember it, and I'm also trying to find the pictures of it, but my grandmother had taken my brother and I out to a park in Germany in this car itself. One of my very first core memories was being in the back seat of this thing and then playing at the park. So I have history with this car itself dating back to whenever I was a year old. One of my very first few memories was of this car itself, which is absolutely amazing. My grandmother had kept this car throughout the years, especially when they moved back to the States. I believe it was 2000, somewhere around 2003, 2004 is when they moved back to the States. They had this car shipped back over as well. This car had then resided in upstate New York since the early 2000s until just recently. Back in high school, it was about 2015, 2016, my grandmother had handed the car down to me just to, you know, get from point A to point B, go to school, go to work, etc., etc. Because my whole life, I'd always bugged her about, you know, getting this car. She'd always told me, like, you get this car whenever I'm dead, you know, blah, blah, blah. Luckily, she's still alive today. She's still with us. happy, healthy, and on a cruise as of recording this video as well. So she's doing well. She just had a couple hip surgeries, so she's no longer able to drive a 5-speed or really drive in general. So they had called, or my grandparents had called me and they told me like, hey, you know, with your grandmother not being able to drive anymore, you're free to come get the car whenever possible. So at the end of June, I flew out there and drove 2,000 miles back down here to South Texas, where the car now currently resides. I've technically had this car since 2015, 2016, so about 8 years. Being in the Army, moving around a lot, and having, you know, other vehicles, and also so my grandmother can drive still. The car had been in upstate New York. She was still driving it up until last year, whenever her hips started going out, and as of this year is whenever she finally called it quits on driving. Yeah, there's a little history on this car. Been in the family. It was a 1-owner car, now it's a 2-owner car. Still in the same family, and I don't ever plan on getting rid of this car at all. I do have some plans for it, but it's not going to be anything too crazy. I'm not going to go full out stance car like I did with my Chevy Cruze. Not going to go fast boy like my old 240SX was. And I'm not keeping it stock like I did my Mini Cooper. Pretty much the only things that I really have planned for this car is I have a aftermarket JVC radio, which I'm trying to get rid of. I want to find a original 1995 radio cassette player just to throw back in the car, keep the dash OEM. For the most part, keep the interior OEM or retro. Steering wheel, I do want to change out because this is just a massive steering wheel. Looking into a Momo steering wheel with the retro Honda badging. Gonna redo pretty much everything suspension wise. I've got some plans for some coilovers that I'm actually getting off Buddy. So yeah, this car will be on coilovers. I've got wheels on the way as well. I just need to order the upper lower control arms front and rear, some anti-roll bars front and rear, the subframe brace, and that's really about it. I just want to make this thing a very great handling car. Want to keep it functional as well. I mean, it's a full interior car and the AC works, so I don't want to gut it, don't want to try to make it lighter. I'll just turn this thing into a little full interior go-kart, essentially. Don't really want to make it a full race car, but I do want to make it to the point where if I wanted to, I could take it out to the autocross days or a track day, go have fun, and still be comfortable. That's really about it. Just not really planning on anything too crazy with this car. Just kind of keep it simple. In the future, whenever this D15 finally does give out, if it does give out, eventually I'll K-swap it, but I'm gonna wait till this D-Series finally gives out. But given the D-Series reliability and, you know, not wanting to do anything to said D-Series motor, it's gonna last a while, so that K-swap is gonna be years down the road. I mean, this car's only got 102,000 miles on it, so it's still got plenty of life left in it. Just got to keep up with the regular maintenance and upkeep, and that's really about it. That's all I got, really. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, maybe subscribe if you haven't, and that's all I got. Until next time. Hope you guys have a good one. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you. Peace.